good evening, First Baptist Church. It's Wednesday night, and we're so glad that you are joining us as we continue this series of First Baptist Church through the eyes of the people. And tonight I have Bradley and Joan Rutledge, who have joined me and are going to share a little bit about their journey here at First Baptist. Thank y'all so much for joining with me tonight. Really appreciate it.
Sure, happy to.
Our pleasure.
So just have a few questions for you. How long have y'all been in the church?
Well, let's see. My parents joined, and I did too, when I believe I was in college. And then I met Bradley, and then we got married, and then he joined. So I would say that both of us together have been members 34 years, maybe?
Probably so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are some of the memories that you have of this place? Things that you just, as you think about First Baptist Church, the things that just pop up in your head, of trips or things over at the church or what? Or
Well, the first memory I have is when Joan and I were dating. Of course, we both went to Berry College, and I came home with her one weekend, and we came to church. Actually, went to Sunday school and church here, and we went into Sunday school, and I forget whose Sunday school room it was.
It was Miss Enos. Miss Enos was the teacher, and it was on the 3rd floor of the old building. And back then, Preston, you may remember, you had like a joint gathering,
mm-hmm.
and then you broke off into little rooms, which our room was college career class. And anyway, this is funny, but go ahead.
So we had been dating a little while, and this was the first time that I had come home. So I was nervous about coming home, meet her parents, meet her mom, meet her dad. And so I was nervous about that to begin with, but on top of that, we were going to church too.
Yeah.
So we go to Sunday school, and we walk up on the 3rd floor, and we're sitting there, and I believe it might have been Miss Kitty Baldwin.
It was.
Miss Kitty Baldwin, we were sitting in that group setting, and there I am, nervous being home anyway. And now I'm in a class full of people that I don't know. We're confined, and the first thing they asked me, well, I think you ought to tell us what your intentions are. That was the first thing out of Miss Kitty's mouth, and I'll never forget that.
It was
I
wonderful.
don't even remember what I said in response. But that was the first thing that she ever said.
And then they made you pray too.
Yeah, and I had to pray. So I
Wow.
guess they were wanting to test me out a little bit.
They put you on the spot.
It was great.
I'm telling
You should be doing that with all folks, all of you couples.
I don't know. That was pretty intense. So,
Yeah.
But that was my first memory, and there just tons of memories we have with the kids and with mission trips and things like that. One of the things I think of is there was one time, and this was a little later memory, but when Brad was a little boy, I think it was Charlie Bogan. We were here for Wednesday night supper, and we were down in the fellowship hall. And of course, we bowed our head to pray, and Dr. Bogan sat there, and he started praying, and he prayed, and he prayed, and Brad was just a young little boy, and I kept kind of looking at him over there to see what was going to happen, because he's been known to act up a little bit. But so I kept watching him, and he sat there with his eyes closed, just praying. And so it was a good long prayer. And right after that prayer, Brad said, "Finally."
Just real loud.
Just as soon, and the whole room there just busted out laughing at him. So, and of course, after that, me being the stickler that I was, I made him go up to Dr. Bogan, and I think it was in his office. It was at a later time.
He had to apologize.
Yeah, and I made Brad apologize, and I never will forget what he told him. He said, "Brad, don't you make your daddy apologize. You just said what everybody else was thinking."
Yeah, he did. That's what he said.
So, that was a good story. But I can remember before we had the new building and the new portion, and I guess I was still visiting at that point, but we had a Super Bowl Sunday, and they would have a bowl of soup. You'd eat a bowl of soup, and that was in the old fellowship hall where the youth room and all that is now, in that old kitchen. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, Brother Walker did that. And then, let's see, Brooke, was she in the old building when she was in preschool? I think she was. Anyway.
Yeah, I believe it was.
This is a story you got to tell about Bradley's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Tell that story, babe.
All right. We had, when the kids were little, both of them attended the preschool here.
Yeah.
And I was over here at Pickens County Bank and Regions Bank, but I think it was Pickens County Bank then, but just across the street. But I would get so busy that I'd lose track of time.
Yeah.
So I had a person there at the bank, Angie Jones, and Angie knew that if I got tied up with a customer or something like that, I had to go get Brooke. So, there was a time or two that Angie and I had it played out that if I didn't finish by a certain time, she may need to go get Brooke. Never really happened. But we had that plan because I'd get tied up from time to time. Well, there was one time I wasn't tied up. I was just working, and I completely forgot Brooke. I forgot to pick her up. I would pick her up here, and then I would take them to Grady Sue's out on Bradley Road over here. And but I just completely forgot. So this was Leetta Ligon was in charge of the preschool at that time, and I forgot. Of course, Joan was at school; she couldn't leave, so it was up to me because I could leave. Well, Brooke couldn't talk real clearly.
She was little, probably about 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, she was small. She couldn't talk real clearly, and she said she told Leetta Ligon and the teachers there. She said, "Call Miss Angie," and so they didn't really understood her, and they dismissed what she was saying. And she said, "Call Miss Angie," and said. A little bit more time went by, and I still hadn't showed up. And it was, "Call Miss Angie," and I said, and Brooke said, "Just call Miss Angie." And Leetta Ligon finally looked at her and said, "Brooke, I don't know what you're saying. What are you saying?" She said, "Call Miss Angie." She said, "Who is that?" And she said, "That's my daddy's girlfriend at the bank." So from that point on, every time I saw Leetta, she gave me grief about that, of course. That I had a girlfriend at the bank.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And then many years before we had the children, about 4 or 5 years, I did Bible school, directed Bible school, and there would be times that I couldn't find Brother Walker to get the church open. And that was back when we had the Dairy Queen. He would usually be there. Mm-hmm. And that particular morning I couldn't find him, and finally I found him. And I'll never forget him telling me that, Joan, you just don't always want to be predictable and have it to where people can always locate you. And I hate to say it, but that's come back to me many times. And I totally agree with that. Sometimes it's good to not be really predictable so that everybody can always locate you. But Brother Walker, I remember one year that I was doing it. This is before I had the children. And it was a huge Bible school. I mean, we were getting to where we were having a lot more than we could even fit in the building, and I couldn't get someone to teach I guess it was like the 5th grade.
Yeah.
And it was getting close to time, and I remember Brother Walker looking at me also. This is also rang back in my ears many times. "You are of little faith. Don't worry, it will work out." And it did. It always worked out, and that, he helped me grow in many things he would tell me. But it was not long after that, the next Bible school, even though he told me that, and I was getting better about my faith, that I said, "Brother Walker, we've just got to do something with this." I said, Miss Perot, Dr. Perot's wife, I used to sit by her in the choir. I love Miss Perot. she sung alto with me, and I always like to sit by her. Well, we were getting ready for Bible school again, and I was telling Miss Perot, I said that night at choir rehearsal, that we were going to do it differently this year. We were going to rotate everybody, and that's the way we still do it now. It really works a lot better because it helps the adults that are helping not to feel like they're self-contained for the entire morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, Miss Perot is the one that got this started. She says, "Oh, Joan," she says, "I've heard of another church that's doing the same thing, and they have like a little teacher's lounge where that some of the members bring in little treats, desserts, or little snacks, and the teachers have a chance to go up there during the morning and get a little snack and socialize for a little bit."
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I know, I'm now working full time now that I'm retired and on a different career. But as far as I know, they still do that, and it's just a wonderful thing to get people to help. But that was started because of Miss Perot, and then Brother Walker and I have to tweak things to try to make it where we get people to come and help us with Bible school. But I have a lot of good memories of being with Brother Walker in his office. Actually, he wouldn't be in his office. He would be in the secretary's office with Miss Doris Burton, who just passed away recently. A lot of good memories of her too.
Yeah.
But mission trips, there's that one where you put the ice in David's camper. I don't know if you want to tell about that.
Yeah, I don't even remember where that was. I think it was down in maybe Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Well, if David were here, he would tell us exactly.
He'd have it written down somewhere. No offense.
I think it was. I don't know where it was. I want to say it was in the.
It might have been. It might have been up in the mountains,
I
up
think
around
it was.
Gatlinburg and Cherokee or something. I don't remember when we first started going, but one of the most memorable things before we had a camper is we camped out at a campground that was under a bridge that crossed the intercoastal waterway. And the only thing that I can remember is we'd set up our tent. Of course, David and a lot of the other adults would have campers. And Joan and I just had a tent. We had a little table. And then we had a fan that was about that big that sat on that little table. And then we had a little, maybe a 5-inch TV that wouldn't pick up anything. I mean, it wouldn't pick up public television hardly.
But they called our tent the Ritz because we had that little tiny
TV. We had given it up that day for air conditioning.
Oh, absolutely.
I can just remember taking showers there, and then before you could even get dressed after getting out of the shower, the mosquitoes would just haul you off.
You couldn't even get bug spray on past it.
It was horrible. But we really enjoyed our mission trips, the times that we went.
Yeah, a lot of good times.
So all these years, what has kept y'all coming back to First Baptist Church?
Oh, it's our family.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful family of faith. Folks have invested so much in us, so much of their time in us, and just wanting to continue to pay that forward and do things for other people. We get much more out of what we get at the church. We get much more than we'll ever be able to give back, and it's just a great place to be and a great place to belong.
Yeah. Wow.
And we hope to be back soon in the next couple of weeks. Bradley's fully vaccinated as of
last Friday. I got my second shot, so
he'll be cleared in about another week or two.
Alrighty.
Just waiting to see if I start glowing or anything.
I think April 26th. I think is our plan to be back.
Okay.
And
good.
so we'll be back.
We're
We've missed it.
forward to it.
We've been watching it on TV, and even though we've been working, we had strict protocol in our office, and we've been very lucky to be able to get through all this, and not, I don't want to say not get the virus, but we hope we've escaped it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joan and Bradley. Thank y'all so much for joining with me tonight and just sharing a little bit about your story and how it's connected and how as a part of this, as the bigger story of First Baptist. And so just thank y'all so much for being a part tonight and just and sharing your hearts with us this evening. So First Baptist Church, hope you have a good night, and we look forward to seeing you next week as we talk about First Baptist Church through the eyes of the people.